Was it seduction or illusion? Deception or murder? Nothing is what it seems in a town like Twin Peaks. Starring Kyle MacLachlan, Michael Onkeen, Laura Flynn Boyle, Sherilyn Fenn, and Joan Chen. And now you can fall back into the mystery, or begin your search for the first time every Tuesday night with a new episode hosted by a panel of superfans. Watch live for the audio commentary. No one is innocent in a town like Twin Peaks.
Good evening. It is May 28th, 2024. It is 8:57 p.m. Robert De Niro may be in your front yard. Please do not approach. He is very unhinged. And don't forget about my special announcement on June 5th, which the panel and I will discuss. Okay, in all seriousness. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen out there in YouTube land. I am Deleted Scenes, human being, American, and YouTube Ronin. I'd like to welcome you to live from Sparkwood in 21. This show chronicles the 1990s cult classic Twin Peaks, created by David Lynch and Mark Frost. Joining me on this odyssey are super fans, Last Call with Troy Pacelli, Netters Network, and Aged Boomer. So slide into a booth at the Double R Diner and order a damn fine cup of coffee and a heavenly slice of cherry pie as we watch and discuss the season 2 finale, Beyond Life and Death. I'd like to say hello to everyone in the chat. Joining us all the way back at 6:06 p.m. FKHC 2005, sometimes known as Tim. Curtis Selby, who was live right before this broadcast. Criminally undersubbed. Let's get him to 100 subscribers tonight. Faithful Blue Wrench, the bird woman of YouTube. Watch out for her new channel, Fluff Check Productions. It's Connie Cleary. Host of Films with Friends, in which I will be appearing on a special Friday night edition in 2 weeks. The creator of the 10-word review, Big Al Presents. Friend of the channel, JPRPH1. Another friend of the channel, Dee Myers Jr. I would also like to say hello to everyone who is following along on the various other channels that are simulcasting this broadcast. Also, everyone on Rumble and on Twitter. I can't see you, but I know that you're there. I want to remind everyone that we cannot air any of these episodes live. You can follow along with us using the Cosme link at the top of the chats, or by watching your own physical copy, or if you have access to Paramount Plus, where the show is streaming, you can catch us there. And hello to Nate, Eat Flag with a Nate Knows, 1973. All right. My fellow panelists are waiting patiently backstage, so I'm going to bring them all on right now. Netters Network.
Good evening, everyone. Would you like a donut?
Troy Pacelli.
Yep, Troy Pacelli, Italian by heritage, American by birth, Klingon by choice.
Yeah,
And
but
of
what
course,
donut do you want?
I'll
H.
take a
Boomer.
maple.
I'm sorry. Do you want me to say something?
I should have known he was going to
I was hoping you would, but I think you've said enough. You have said
Okay.
enough, sir. You have said enough. Okay.
Very funny, man.
All right.
I know, man. I'm upset. This is the last episode, at least until we got the revival series.
This is why I seriously did get donuts for tonight.
By the way, before we watch the revival series, though, apparently there was a Twin Peaks reference on Northern Exposure.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. That makes sense.
Which means that Northern Exposure must take place in the Twin Peaks universe. So we have 6 seasons of that to get through before we get to the revival series. I'm sorry. You got to put it on hold for a bit before we get to season 3. We got to do
Okay,
Northern Exposure for all 6 seasons.
Well, that was like 25 years in between season 2 and the return. So we got 25 years of Twin Peaks references that we have to go through.
No,
Please, God, no, no.
Hey, I'm running this channel now. No,
There
we're
you
gonna watch
go.
all 6 seasons of Northern Exposure. I'm
The
kidding.
boomer takeover has
Your
begun.
victory is at hand.
2 episodes a week. We'll get to the revival maybe in 2028. We'll see, huh?
So Stardate trivia says Captain's Log, Earth
Hello,
date
Stardate.
202428.05, sending out a transmission to all members of the Federation. You have been received. Hailing frequencies open, Stardate.
You want a donut?
We'll try to push it through the microphone.
You know what it is? Northern Exposure is like a show that's made out of all the quirky stuff on Twin Peaks and nothing else, if you think about it, right?
I suppose, yeah.
Without all the mystery and the supernatural and paranormal stuff. Yeah, it's just that's what it is.
Hello, Kronos.
Hello, Kronos. And Tim says, or in the year 2525, if man is still alive, woman can survive, they may find. Yep. We'll see if woman survives.
I might be the only one left.
Uh-oh.
Well, I was talking specifically about your icon representation here. See, I keep trying to bring us back on topic.
Yes, but now you're telling me that my icon representation is one of those people that I need to change my avatar to a cup of coffee?
No. It's just her fate is the operative one for this episode.
I see what you're saying.
Janitor's log, Stardate 2525198. Hut. I swabbed the deck and the captain reprimanded me for not using a toothbrush.
Well, yeah.
You know, it's weird. I was watching a clip from a TNG episode where Tony Todd was playing a Klingon commander that was running the Enterprise.
Yeah.
And he said he was riding everybody hard except for Commander Worf, who he was being very nice to. And part of me thought, is a Klingon like, you know, being hard on the crew? Is that a sign of respect? Or is being nice is not?
Yeah.
Is that what that means?
Well, and it's very interesting because it does come off that way as this is normal. And the whole episode was kind of showing you this is what it's like on a Klingon ship. This is what it's like on a Federation ship. But what it would be like if a Klingon was in charge of that Federation ship. So obviously, myself and a lot of the people in the Klingon community focus on Riker and his experience.
Right.
Actually, there was a great PC game called Star Trek Klingon that is told in a very similar way from the point of view of a Klingon going through a Klingon adventure. But yes, Tony Todd just plays it just like any other Klingon commander would, right? And you know, he just expects everyone to do what they're supposed to do, and it would almost be an insult if he didn't. If he coddles you, that's kind of him looking down on you and saying, "I don't believe you can do your job."
Let's all go off to mamby-pamby land.
yeah, jackwagon.
They need to remaster some of those old PC games.
I know.
There was one that was like a cyberpunk mystery, had Christopher Walken in it as one of the detectives, and Paul Giamatti was in it too. It was like, I don't know, where are they getting these actors from?
There are two Star Trek PC games that were less like games and more like interactive episodes.
Yeah.
One was, like I said, the Star Trek Klingon, which I love, and the other one was Star Trek Borg, mostly featuring John Delancey as Q. It was good because, you know, John Delancey, Q. But the overall story's pretty forgettable. But I'm not going to say I've played through the Klingon one, but what I've done is I've put it together as all the scenes in a playthrough,
right,
as if it's an episode, and I've watched it many, many times, and I really enjoy it.
They should have done a Twin Peaks game like that, you know?
Oh, from your lips to God's ears, for crying out loud. The fans have been desperate for good Twin Peaks gaming, to the point that fans have pretty much been doing it for themselves. I've got 3 different role-playing games that specifically say they're inspired by Twin Peaks.
Like, I think a point-click adventure game would have been the best way to go with Twin Peaks.
Yeah, it would have been.
You're searching around for finding out what... Well, actually, no, never mind. But, you know, it
would be a great way for them to do, like, another season or whatever. Make it that interactive thing.
Yeah.
And the reason I think that it would work so well, we need to wait until after season 3 to talk about. Yes, the Klingon Academy with Christopher Plummer was really... it was based on the combat game from FASA.
Interesting.
Which I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It was a lot of fun. And some of the lore from it was really, really cool. I have... There's sites on YouTube, or, you know, people have done YouTube videos that compile all the clip scenes and stuff. The combat's kind of boring. It's kind of like watching a chess game, really, because it's all like overhead with maps and stuff like that. It's not that interesting.
So was he his character from Undiscovered Country? Or?
Yes, he was.
Oh, okay.
It takes place obviously before Star Trek VI, and he plays he plays
Kang.
Kang, but he is teaching at the Klingon Academy. He's teaching combat tactics and the way of the warrior, stuff like that. It's really, really good.
Right on. One episode with War Spur was harsh. Yeah, but
Actually, I would say every episode that pulled Kern into it was pretty harsh. His last episode in Deep Space Nine was really harsh too.
Oh yeah.
If you
Kern's
remember
bringing
that.
that up, DS9, yeah.
Yep. But that's a different stream. I would love to talk about that. Maybe I will do
We're
a
gonna
Star
talk
Trek
about-
stream
I
sometime.
got it. I got us on a Star Trek tangent. Sorry.
Because all of those storylines continue and branch off in Star Trek Online. If you have any interest, maybe we'll talk about that sometime. But for now, let's get back to and there is this desire to. I don't want to watch that last episode because once I watch it, it's over, right? Or at least that was the feeling that we all had.
The thought, yeah. I mean, you have to Well, I'm going to go and I'll go more into it after the episode. My thoughts on it.
Remind me of the timeline. Did we know that Twin Peaks had been canceled when the last episode aired?
I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah, I thought my memory might have been confabulated a little bit because I seem to feel like, there was a sense of trepidation.
Like they might have known, but
I don't think we did.
I don't know.
We were
the general
hoping.
public.
Well, but
Yeah,
just
you
like
have to-
always, go ahead.
But the thing that you folks have to understand out in the chat, again, this is all pre-social media. We didn't have Twitter. We didn't have this, the networks
have a
are
tweet from
canceling these 8 shows,
Right, and you didn't have a tweet from Kyle MacLachlan saying, well, I guess we're not done yet, or something like that,
Yeah.
Hell, you didn't even have a
So-
tease that something might
Oh.
be coming in a month or so. We'll talk about that, too. We did lose Boomer, however.
We lost
but
Boomer.
We suspect that he will be back.
Someone did a Twin Peaks fan.
Yes,
game.
I can't remember if it was you, Steven, or if it was Age of Boomer that showed it to me, and it was probably Boomer. He's the gamer guy. And I downloaded it and played the demo. It's...
Challenging?
No,
Stupid?
it's really not. It's like those old Roberta Williams games from, back in the day, like King's Quest and stuff, where you click here, click there, walk, and it's kind of low resolution. And you just play Agent Cooper coming into Twin Peaks, going to the hospital, checking out the body. It's ambitious, but it is a fan game. It's like, okay, nice. Yeah, I hope you end up, going the distance and making this game, but actually, have you had a chance to take a look at it, Deleted Scenes?
Very briefly. I haven't played it.
We could do one night as a playthrough of it here on the show if you want.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
I mean, we're going to have to Mystery Science Theater 3000 the crap out of it because it's not, there's not a lot there, But
I kind of do that anyway. So,
fair enough. Yeah, maybe we'll do that.
Yeah,
But,
it's like the newer stuff I can riff. I can riff something that I've been watching for years because I've watched it enough times. But okay, Boomer is back, so we can stop rambling and
go ahead and hit the play button.
Indeed. So folks
Hold
are
on.
going to.
Give me one moment. I just got to get to the Cosby link. Sorry. Now my computer froze up on me. Hold on.
Shit. All right.
I
Big
suppose
time.
Figured it
Cosby
was
knows.
something like that.
It just completely froze. So hold on.
Look, I mean, we're talking Twin Peaks, supernatural, electrical things happening. I
Maybe.
get it.
Maybe.
Curtis Selby's excited about a gaming vid.
All right. There we go. All right.
Hey, we're getting some interest there. So I guess I'm gonna have to go through with this thing then.
All right.
Just don't expect a lot from the game. Okay, we'll make it as interesting as we can, but the game on its own, maybe not so much.
I'm ready whenever you guys are.
Okay. I'm ready.
All right, folks. Please, I'll give everybody a moment to join us over on Cosme. And
I
then
think
we
most
will.
everyone's there. I'm seeing an anonymous
jump into
tiger.
this
I'm
thing.
seeing an anonymous chameleon. Hey, we've got all of
Connie's
Noah's
there,
Ark
Curtis
over
is
there.
Okay. We got chameleons. All right. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.5, 1 make like ready, 1/23, 11/16. Go.
Flappy did not take too well to the news that the show was not renewed for another season. Apparently, he flew on to the rap party on the MacGyver set and laid a turd in the punch bowl. And when Richard Dean Anderson got into it, it was not a pretty sight. Yeah.
It's interesting. Unless I'm mistaken, next week we will really take a look at what happened to Flappy throughout the filming and what became of Flappy. It'll be like a whatever happened to Flappy. It's kind of tragic.
Like whatever happened to Baby Jane?
Kinda. Dana Ashbrook, I wish had a bigger role in this whole show. To be honest with you, they made an X-Files game back in the day. They rejected.
They
script.
did for
Yeah,
PC.
They did. Yeah.
They made a couple X-Files games actually.
Yeah, I remember seeing some of the cutscenes from that. It was
Mm-hmm.
interesting.
Didn't he make an appearance on Stargate because of that incident? Are you talking about Flappy? Maybe.
Yeah.
He's on Jerry Springer that one time.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, that was an unfortunate.
Here he goes.
Public
and here he
display.
comes. And then they did. Yeah. Aren't you doing everything in front of God anyway? That is kind of sweet. Come on, let's be honest. That was sweet.
I'm going to guess it's the first time she said that to him.
Maybe. I think it was the first time she said it where we heard for certain, so. I believe in the original showing of this, the previous episode and this episode were shown together. So it was a 2-hour with commercials, event. Okay, now we gotta get a mod in GTA so that we can have the log lady running around in a truck like that.
Hello to Lady Mist, Emoji Queen.
Oh, that's why they're calling it Ghostwood Estates.
Yeah, they want to tear down a section of the woods to put up, housing. It's a real estate deal.
Well, I was thinking ghost haunted. No.
I'm sure
Maybe.
that
12 trouts gone. That girl's dinner, right?
yeah.
Huckleberry Fairy. No.
See, guys, you guys might know this better than I do. When they show Glastonbury Grove again, he said those were sycamore trees, and that comes up in the soundtrack and all that. Are they really sycamore trees though? They look like birch trees to me.
Here she is.
Margaret Lanterman, good evening.
Yeah, he was wearing a wig.
Engine oil.
Yep. I have to wonder if we haven't seen Margaret's husband, not within the span of the TV show, but in Fire Walk with Me and subsequently. Feel like Margaret's log has way more to say than it ever actually has.
Right?
Zacchaeus, yeah. Well, an actor's got to do what the director directs it to do. Boomer, is this an actual Catholic litany?
It sounds like one.
Okay. I just figured you'd know better than I would.
It's not what I know, but to be fair, there are a lot of prayers in there.
I was going to say, I've been a recovering Catholic for over 40 years, so I might not remember.
I know the prayer to St. Michael, but I don't know that one.
I'm actually, though, going to now have to look into it because they tend not to throw stuff in, willy-nilly.
Yes. The circle. This is it.
Sometimes even the made-up stuff has deep meaning. One chance out between two worlds, Fire Walk with Me, for example. Tim. Are you saying that next week you want to watch the Blair Witch Project? Is that what you're saying?
I thought you were going to say that one for Halloween time. Of course, you could do it over the summer because it's
True.
I guess it's coming upon its anniversary, isn't it?
It is.
I believe it is, yeah.
Okay, that's one you all can watch without me.
See,
I
look at
hated
that.
it.
Doesn't that look like birch trees to you?
Yes.
Okay. What happened to Mike?
He got bopped over the head too.
Okay. And then the tree hit me.
And she's like, "Oh boy."
A minute?
Yeah.
Has she just forgotten the last few weeks
Yeah.
or whatever?
Lady, half the town is named Mike.
Yeah, good point.
Uh-oh.
Well, you brought
Okay.
him.
I was just noticing the portrait behind her. It's got actual lights. That's actually pretty cool.
It's I don't know. It's a bit odd if you ask me.
And he's thinking it's not fair.
Oh yeah. Everyone is. It's like
Pleasant Nadine is back.
yeah, and you just see everybody deflating now. You know, it's amazing to hear him say that because he's
Yeah.
the child in the room.
Well, I guess he's has some maturity now, right?
He does, and in a way, maybe more than anyone else in that room at that moment.
Maybe he'll get out of Twin Peaks now. I'm sorry.
Speaking of leaving,
Yeah.
No.
I never noticed it when I first watched the show, but Donna's mom is kind of hot.
Yes.
yeah.
You're within throwing distance.
I know.
Uh-oh.
Oh, criminy.
I actually believe Ben is sincere. I'll say this.
He is.
Yeah, he is.
He's, you know, and there's a number of characters like this that they are the anchor of like goodness, you know?
Uh-oh.
Yup.
I completely forgot about you. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. But she comes to be the voice of reason, right?
I didn't even know that was his wife.
Yes.
You don't see her through the whole thing.
Yeah, you haven't really seen it.
She
since
was
the
in
first
one scene
episode.
at dinner. One scene at dinner.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of had it coming.
Man, damn.
So much for the Hippocratic Oath, eh, Doc? I'm sorry. I had to say.
Are you saying he's a hypocrite?
Did he just kill him?
He
Oh,
did
no, he's
something to
moving.
him.
Well, he could be dying. We don't know.
There was a theory when that happened that Ben Horn was going to revert to his old self after that. Like that mess up.
Oh, I
can
can see why you would say that. Kind of the
Yeah.
same as with Nadine, right?
Yeah. Plus, isn't there some kind of thing in the front of your head if it gets damaged, you lose like some kind of moral center or something? Like it, I don't know.
So, in other words, it would be no damage to him whatsoever.
Well, my argument is that he seemed to be trying to reform himself.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
He was trying to make amends, it sounded like.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I saw someone grab a key, it looked like.
Yeah, that was Andrew. He grabbed the key from underneath the
Yeah.
cake plate thing.
What are you trying to say, Tim? Is it just a train, or are you trying to suggest something? I don't think I said hi to Lady Mist earlier. Welcome, Lady Mist.
Oh, hello, Lady Mist.
Too many good shows, never got a chance back in the day.
Every now and again, you get a revival or whatever, or you get some sort of resolution. Which,
Like, I really liked the Dark Shadows redo, and that got canned.
I know.
It was rumored they were going to make a CW Dark Shadows series, thank goodness on that, right?
In a way, they've kind of... because of streaming, you've had a degree of freedom by the show makers to be able to pick up and go elsewhere that we never had before. Right. But that's a mixed bag, too. Look at what's going on with the Orville, for example.
He's like, here, I gotta go on alone. He's leaving Harry standing in the dark in the middle of the forest.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that what Hawk said, though? You got to face yourself. Maybe he probably doesn't. Maybe he doesn't want Harry facing his other self, right? Think about that.
That is an excellent point.
Is Harry in the condition to do that right now,
Absolutely
especially with the whole
not.
Josie thing? Yes.
And let's face it, there's also the fact that Cooper is more open to, let's say, a supernatural battle.
Right.
Yeah, he's really a precursor to Mulder.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Mulder got his ass kicked a lot, if you don't might say.
Yeah.
Well, that's because he wasn't in a dress. That's
No, I'm just saying X-Files was one step forward, 3 steps back. It seemed whenever he was trying to
It could be, yeah.
Whereas I think Cooper here, I'll say this, he makes strides. I mean, he does do that. I think he's more effective than Mulder and Scully were. No offense, I did love the X-Files, but...
So I always wondered about... Okay, so we know what the ring is, right? That's the oil. But what is that white around the outside?
Salt?
That's exactly what I was thinking, too.
Was Lynch involved at the end of the season? Yes, he was.
Yes, he was.
And he directed this episode.
I assumed he had to be involved to some degree because he kept guest starring.
Yes.
Well, that too. Yeah.
If he had washed his hands of the show, he just wouldn't have shown up to be in episodes.
He washed his hands of the show after the show.
Right.
I feel like Fire Walk with Me was him like taking back the reins,
Yeah. Well, and you also have to understand during season 2, I believe he was shooting a film as well concurrently. So.
Was it Wild at Heart? I'm trying to think which one it was.
I believe it was, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Look
of course,
at that.
He had that series. I'll get to that later. It was kind of also he had another series that was also going on at the same time as well. It was a documentary.
So Truman saw it.
Old-fashioned
Yes.
trickery, and it works.
Yeah.
It was a neat trick of the eye there with the curtains and
Oh, here we go. Little Jimmy Scott.
Yep. The sycamore trees. See, I kind of felt like it was stones that were colored white.
Maybe.
Which could just be a stylistic thing, but I tend to think the same way Netter did. You know, that salt is like a binding agent.
Yeah, because like witches and whatever will use them in spells.
Right, and those who fight against the supernatural use it as warding.
Couldn't talk. Oh.
What's that? Are you cutting out intentionally, or is it?
No. I was gonna say I didn't want to talk during the song. And now
no, it's okay.
I was saying I can't. This is too good. I got to keep my mouth shut. This is
Okay.
That's what. It is. Who sang that? Well,
Little Jimmy Scott. Yeah,
okay.
that was him actually.
It was excellent.
Yeah.
That was excellent. Now I want to look up a sycamore tree.
I can't remember. I don't think it's on the original Twin Peaks soundtrack. It's on the Fire Walk With Me soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is, they're walking around with those torches. You know, I remember them from my childhood in Boy Scouts and whatnot. They've been since replaced with bright LEDs. But those old lanterns, you know, with the big lantern batteries, they sucked. They really did.
Yeah, well, some things improve, don't they?
Yeah.
We always talk about the good old days, but not everything about it was good.
Yeah, some things have improved.
And how long
Next
are you
morning.
gonna wait?
Well, you gotta imagine that he's gotta be having some kind of cognitive dissonance, right? Because he's not used to this supernatural stuff. People just disappearing into thin air in front of his eyes. It's one thing for someone to say, you know, Garland Briggs disappeared. You know, but to actually see something like that happen literally, you know?
Yeah, bring me a plate special.
And some
Well,
coffee.
Yeah.
That's all he's been saying is, yeah.
It's like he's distracted. It's really serious, but yeah, I want dessert.
Is she dead?
Yeah, no, she's not, but I'm sure that question is meant to be asked. Yeah.
Wasn't there some movie about
Mubbler.
Wasn't there a movie about high school teachers? Maybe the movie was called Teachers, and one of the teachers was doing
Yeah.
a class, and he was dead in the class at the end of the class.
Oh God.
Oh my goodness.
Now, this is actually quite humorous, the way she's chained herself. Because most protesters would chain themselves in such a way that you would not be able to open that gate.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Like,
you're
I'm
given
trying
too
to
much to
remember
do.
everything for the phone call.
It's like, I'm not going to remember all that shit.
I'm 194.
I hate to say it, the bank probably doesn't pay enough to retire, right? So he's still working there. That's all I'm
Yeah,
thinking.
probably true.
So what happens when she has to pee?
I don't know. I think I would genuinely hate to work at this place. I don't know why. I think.
I'm
Oh,
kind
I
of
think-
surprised her dad doesn't run the bank or Packard for that matter.
True.
Well, see, now I've seen way too many horror stories, and it's like I wait for that ginormous round door to close and squash her into
Right.
the thing.
Like Final Destination, right? See, this is the way you do a protest. Yes, you could be disruptive, but be nice about it. And don't actively destroy stuff.
It's like, what was that?
The guys in Cosme dropping the memes. You guys just amaze me. You are on point. You really are. Yes, him. You're not supposed to be living and breathing
He's
as far as he
alive?
knows. Yeah, exactly. Real Walden Nation Gaming Clips. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here, my friend.
Hello.
Oh, and John, I'm sorry, I didn't see you there too. Welcome. I kind of felt like, the way she says hi, Pete, she's got like a warm affection for him now after, he drove her around and,
Yeah.
helped her out and whatnot.
Yeah, they're like this weird little team up I didn't know I wanted. But,
Yeah, right?
Yeah, and she could still allow them in.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
that's kind of funny. It's like, well, how much of a protest is this? How disruptive are you?
Cooper's occupied at the moment.
And they're like, why? You're not disrupting anything. We kind of don't care.
Burgess Meredith is Lawrence Welk in.
Twin Peaks, yeah, exactly.
I wonder if that old dude really is an actor or just like some crew member's dad or something.
It actually could be going either way. Hello? Why would a cop just go and answer a phone?
I think that's bank security, sweetie.
Oh, okay, yeah, good point.
Been quite a day. He's got to go lie down.
I wonder if they have a napping couch in there.
Did you read his lips?
Yes.
He said, oh, shit.
Does
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh, I don't give a crap about Andrew, but is Pete okay?
It's a good question.
It's raining money.
When I first saw this at that point, I was pretty much, oh,
Yeah.
oh.
Aw,
Coffee flavored kisses.
they are
Because-
adorable.
As adorable as us.
Because
I'd say yes.
let's take an account of what's gone on here. Cooper and Annie are now in the Black Lodge with the Wyndham Merle. Ben Horn is down.
Yep.
Leo's missing.
Well, these two are not romantic. They're despicable.
Trudy.
We haven't seen her since the first episode either.
Heidi, sorry. Uh-huh. Just how we started.
Yes, exactly.
I love her giggle.
Yeah.
This is weird.
Too busy jump-starting the old man again.
This is like an oh no, man.
I suppose that's one way of putting it.
Okay, Jacoby looks like a magician.
Yes.
This Galaxy of Terror sequel is weird.
Right?
Oh, spit it out, woman.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Whose voice was that?
Good question.
I'm thinking Bob.
I was thinking Laura.
Oh, that's the little man.
Maybe.
Yeah.
That's a nice suit he's got there.
It really is. I gotta be honest.
He's speaking backwards and he's about to be walking backwards. But
Yeah, I gotta admit, when you know how this is done, it is pretty amazing.
Waiting for what?
Just poor Dad.
Don't ask stupid questions. Father Guido Sarducci. Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, I thought Father Guido Sarducci was going to walk in when you said that. Just...
My vote's on Dr. Joyce Brothers.
That was a weird wink.
because everything she's doing is in reverse.
$25 years.
Okay, who is that?
Who's who?
Is in the Cosme.
Oh, hold on.
I
Oh, what
need
the
one-
hell?
Yeah, I need one of my wrenches to figure this out. I don't know how to remove that.
Well, I was able to move it down. Let's see if I can smaller size it.
Okay, porn bot. What the fuck? Alright, come on, guys.
I made it as small as I could down at the bottom. It's gone now.
I'm going to have to change my security settings on here.
Sorry about that, folks in Cosme. I considered that was not me. I have extra footage.
I'm more of a crew neck myself.
Well, when you first pointed it out, I'm like, where? I need a microscope.
Now, I'm not going to say too much about this. We'll talk about this maybe later.
It's like, what the heck happened to my coffee? And he's like, whoops. Ew.
I think he was genuinely impressed by that. Walk with me.
I like the statue.
Yeah, here we go again. All right.
Okay. I'm afraid some of you guys might get booted. You guys are going to need to log in.
I'm bringing it down to bottom and making it small. Yeah. Trying to see if there's a way to delete. Oh, how about block element? Block. Okay, I made it go away. I blocked it.
How did you do that?
I right-clicked on it and I did block element.
No, you didn't.
Oh.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, because I can't see it anymore on mine. Is that a monkey?
How do you...
Yeah, I refreshed my screen. I gotta figure out how I usually go in with this. Yeah, I made it smaller and brought it down to the bottom of the screen. See, on me, it's just a black box now.
That doesn't help any.
See, I don't see any of that on my screen. Oh, I also can't see the chat anymore. Come on, why can't I see the chats?
I changed the settings.
Okay.
Here we go.
Dang, girl, have some chocolate. You're like, why do I have blood going out of my body?
I'm sure people have analyzed this scene for many years.
In a manner of speaking.
Oh, stop. I'll have to smack you. Eat a chocolate bar and chill out.
Look who it is.
And him I just have to duck. Why is everyone so loud on this show? I actually don't remember any of this bit.
Toodles.
Bob's a little psychotic.
Yeah, well, we knew that.
Okay.
Well,
I guess. I don't know.
only 4.
That doesn't mean that I like you.
And that's psychotic Dale.
That was creepy. The fourth wall break.
Frankly, to get out, it'd be going the opposite way. Go back the way I came.
Quick, mech suit.
Okay, there's the waiting room.
Mm-hmm.
What's on her face?
Blood.
John is asking, can we do another stream just for the lodge stuff? Seems important to me. Let me think about that. Because it's not that clear cut.
So would he have gone after any of the other girls? Had they been taken?
Mm-hmm.
I think that the only reason that Annie was taken was because he would go after her.
But she won Miss Twin Peaks. That's why
Yeah.
he took her. Whoever won, he was going to take.
Or was that a misdirect?
Right. Which would make it just a coincidence that Annie won.
I was thinking the same thing. Nate knows.
Annie,
Annie, are you okay? Are you okay, Annie?
Annie, are you okay?
Why are you making a mess with your toothpaste there, Dale?
How's Annie? How's Annie?
You were
And
there.
that's where the story left off for 25
25
years.
years.
That's something.
Looks in the coffee cup.
Yeah.
She is now the drink me, eat me lady.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there is an element of Wonderland to it, isn't there? You know, so the Alice comparison is probably pretty apt. But yeah, there you go. So there we go. Yeah, sorry for the mishaps in
Yeah.
Cosme. I've locked it down now. Hopefully we won't be having that problem now.
Well, we could always have it be where everyone has to have a login in the future too.
That's one of the settings that I just put
But you
in.
know, every day you see a monkey penis.
Yeah,
Is that what that was?
yeah,
I don't know what it
something
was.
like that. Something like that.
But it was really
it
ugly.
It was unappealing, is what it was.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You are not wrong.
Anyway,
I'm sorry, but that was the ugliest male member I've ever seen.
yeah. Anyway,
But
so here we are, though.
yeah.
The finale. So, I'm sure this finale was analyzed a bunch over the years.
Yeah. So, there is some elements of it that I can't really touch on too much without getting into season 3 territory.
Well, considering season 3 for me, while I remember it, it's a bit of a muddled mess because I probably should have watched this for it. My impression of this was that I always called that the Cooper doppelganger.
Yes.
But now I'm seeing Bob's image in the mirror.
Well,
So what is the Cooper doppelganger? Is it Bob? Is it something else? Is it Bob and the Cooper doppelganger working in conjunction with each other? Is it its own thing? That's what I was never
well,
sure.
here's another element that you got to consider, right? So you bring up the concept of the doppelganger, right?
Yes.
Where you have
The evil twin, yes.
yeah, basically the shadow self, right? And what was it that Hawk had said about the lurker on the threshold? He said that you would encounter your shadow self, and if you encounter your shadow self without completely without fear, you'll be lost. I would have to argue that the doppelganger is, of course, Dale's shadow self, right?
Right.
And was he completely without fear? He ran away from him, so that's a pretty clear indication of some fear, right? The doppelganger caught up to him, and we can assume that it was the doppelganger that left the lodge and that Dale is still in the lodge. Now, a little minor spoiler for Fire Walk With Me, which we'll be watching real soon. We know that Dale is still in the lodge with... What is it? He's in the lodge with Laura, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yes. So what we see is a doppelganger, an evil shadow self, an evil twin, if you will, of Dale, has emerged from the lodge. Dale is still trapped in the lodge, and the image of Laura Palmer told him, "I will see you again in 25 years." Now, jump back to the first episode. There was a lot of bookends in this episode. The waitress coming in, being late for work because she was, stooping her husband, the same jokes, the giggling, and so forth. Couple of other characters we haven't seen since the first episode, right? Bookends. Well, remember the dream that Dale had in the first episode, which was essentially him in the lodge with Laura and the little man from another place, and he was old, like 25 years older, right? So what he dreamt is literally seeing Laura again 25 years later. And I guess this is a tiny minor spoiler for season 3, but that has a payoff. That scene gets recreated in third season because it is in fact 25 years later, and that does actually happen.
Question. You would not see me again for 25 years, so who or what was screaming Laura? Because obviously he sees that Laura after she makes that statement. Is that a different Laura? Is that Bob in disguise as Laura? Is that a Laura doppelganger? What is going on?
Let me comment on what Nate said. He had fear for Annie's safety. I think that's also not only true, but by design. As I pointed out, Wyndham Earl bringing him there. Now, Wyndham Earl screwed up, right? Just like the sorcerer that conjures a demon and, makes a mistake, and leaves a little gap in the salt circle that he makes, his soul is forfeit. But nonetheless, he did some things right, at least for what he was trying to do, and from the perspective of Bob, and that's getting Dale into the Black Lodge. And part of that is that whole fear element, right? This was all a big revenge plot on the part of Wyndham Earl. His role in this was just simply to get revenge on Dale for what happened with Caroline and all of that. Of course, we ignore the fact that it's really all Wyndham Earl's fault, but the villain is always the hero in his own mind, right? So that's part of his plan, is to ensure that Dale is fearful. He could not be certain that Dale would fear for his own safety. Dale's like that. He was all ready to give up his immortal soul, right? Give me your soul, and I'll let Annie go. Okay, I will. He's that self-sacrificing. So maybe in that element he wasn't fearful, but when things start going all higgledy-piggledy, and he doesn't feel like he has any control or any choice or any options, the fear kind of ramps up. And now, holy crap, there's another me coming at me with white eyes. I'm getting the heck out of here. Yeah, so the fear thing does end up kicking in. But yeah, that fear for Annie, it's kind of Star Wars prequel-ish, right? It's why you don't have attachments, because fear of losing them, can lead to the dark side and so forth. So yeah. So we did, I had talked about in previous weeks, Bob needs a tether in order to come out into the real world. And originally that tether was Leland. Oh, let me talk about Leland for a second. Okay? So, of course, we get a Leland appearance. But what do we see? We see Leland again with those white eyes, right? Those white gray eyes, which, behind the scenes, just a little aside, they're wearing contact lenses, and those contact lenses, to make them look like that, those actors cannot see. If they can see at all, it's milky and blurry. So really, and yes, I do know this from experience. So be appreciative. If you ever see, like, they do this sometimes, like with vampires and stuff like that, and they got the white eyes, but they got the black dot in the middle. Those they can see through, because that's literally a hole in the white for them to be able to see through. It kind of ruins the appearance unless you want a black pupil look, but at least the actor can then see. But if it's all whitened over like that, yeah, they really can't see. So if you ever see an actor wearing those kinds of lenses and they're pretending to be blind like it's a cataract, they really can't see. That's not just good acting. That's, that's method acting, so to speak. Anyway, that aside, you see Dale, the doppelganger of Dale, and the doppelganger of Leland. And this is why I say doppelganger. They're the doppelganger because of the eyes, right?
Yes.
And you get other clues because of the way they're acting, but sometimes it's kind of hard to tell. The tell is the eyes. And so when you see them like nose to nose and laughing, that's where the scene started for them. And then they back off from each other, and Leland backs up into the curtain, and the evil Dale backs up down the hallway. And the only reason I'm sharing that is because all of that is filmed backwards and then played forwards. But it also kind of points out that it didn't matter so much that they couldn't see, because they're walking backwards anyway, so they weren't going to be able to see. Anyway, just a little behind the scenes making of that I thought I'd share with you. But so when the doppelganger of Leland tells the good Dale, I didn't kill anyone. I think there's only two ways you can interpret that, right? One is he's telling the truth, and the other is that he's lying. And of course, because it's a doppelganger, you have no reason to believe them and assume that they're telling the truth. But I think in this case he is. It's kind of a clue to the nature of what's going on. I'm a doppelganger. I didn't kill anybody. But the real Leland did. And you might be even able to make the argument, well, maybe the real Leland didn't either. It was Bob working through him. But be that as it may, I think from the doppelganger's point of view, it's true. He hasn't killed anyone. Maybe not yet. Maybe he didn't exist until just recently. We don't know. Is Dale not that tether now? That's how I always took it. Am I mistaken? No, I was getting to that, John. Thank you. You're making a great point. So now, let me back up to what I was saying. Bob needs a tether. That tether was originally Leland. And it was very clear from a lot of clues, from things that were said in the show, especially things that were said overtly in Laura's diary. And I think it's said overtly in Fire Walk With Me as well, that Bob was, and I'm going to use this word because it literally fits here, Bob was literally grooming Laura to be his next vessel. And she realized she had two choices. She either had to submit and allow him to take her over like her father did, or she had to die. Those were her only two choices. And apparently she chose death. That was the most noble choice she could make under the circumstances. Kind of the existential hero, so to speak. So now Bob is in a quandary, right? Because Laura's dead. He's still got Leland. Leland dies, right? What does Bob do then? He goes back into the Black Lodge. He has no tether. We saw him come out. Was it last episode or the episode before?
Episode before.
Okay. We see him come out right hand first, right? Laughing. One chance out between two worlds. fire walk with me, right? He comes back into the real world. Yes, he needs a tether. Who is his tether? He's drawn by fear. So it seems that there was a number of people that called to him. It was Josie. It was, to some degree, the victims of Wyndham Earl, right? There was... actually, Wyndham Earl created a whirlpool of fear. That was really what brought Bob back in. But Wyndham Earl was not going to be that tether. He was on his own little campaign. He was the sorcerer who wanted to become a demon, and he failed. Because maybe he didn't know all the rules, right? So it appears that, John, you called it exactly right. Bob says, you know who would be a great vessel for me? Would be Dale. But Dale, I haven't had a chance to work with Dale. I haven't had the opportunity from his childhood to, corrupt him and convince him to be my willing vessel. But you know what I can do? I can make a doppelganger of him, and I can trap Dale here and let the doppelganger take his place, and I'll go along for the ride. So that's why when you see the mirror, it's just like how Leland, and this is probably exactly what tipped you off there, John. Just like Leland looking in the mirror and seeing Bob, this is the doppelganger of Dale looking in the mirror and seeing Bob. But he doesn't have that I am Bob face going on, going through the motions, being Bob. He smiles at him and laughs. Almost like he's waving to him. Hey, buddy, we're in this together. Yay. He's not completely taken over by Bob. Bob is just a willing partner with him. Kind of like Bob was with Mike. Remember? Philip Gerard. Philip Gerard's counterpoint in the Black Lodge. They had that familiar relationship, and I mean that in the sorcerer familiar sense.
Right.
But I don't want to go too much farther down the doppelganger path. See what I did there? But I don't want to go further down that path until we get into season 3, because that gets explored in a lot of ways there.
You know who also was bad at summoning a demon and trying to control it?
Huh.
Ash from the Evil Dead movies on the show.
That is actually a really good analogy. Yes.
He's like, okay, the Deadites are back. You know what? We're going to use this book to our advantage. He says, and look, go find. And he looks in this book, find a wimpy demon for us to summon that we can bully him into telling us how to reverse this. And of course, you see the picture of the book, and there's this wimpy little demon. Then when he summon it, he doesn't look like his picture. He's more terrifying.
Yeah,
I think he was like a fear demon or something, and he's like, I think he complained to the guy, you really got to get your picture updated in this book or something.
There's if you've ever,
and of course, it gets loose naturally, right?
Yeah.
So he can just compounds the problem, makes it worse.
If you've ever read the Greater Keys of Solomon, right, it talks about summoning demons, and
yes.
You've got to make sure you get it absolutely right, or you're screwed. It's kind of like trying to wrestle an alligator. You make a mistake and you're dead, and it's the same kind of thing. And yes, I think that's a perfect analogy. That's exactly what happened with Wyndham Earl.
Which is why you're not supposed to summon demons.
It's not a really good idea. It's really not. And that's why, when you look at Wyndham Earl, the guy's nuts. There's no doubt about it. He's just knucking futs. And it takes someone like that to say, hey, I know a great way to get revenge on Dale. I will do all this stuff and summon demons and open up a portal to hell, basically, and trap him in it, and I'll steal his soul. And then I'll use his soul to become, powerful and blah, blah, blah. That's the kind of plan a crazy person comes up with. A normal person wants to get revenge. They cancel you on the internet, or get you fired, or, at the very worst, they kill you.
So what is Bob doing with Wyndham Earl's soul?
Well, they get into this a little bit more in Fire Walk with Me.
Okay.
It's this concept of Garmin Boja, right? Which, that could be a whole talk in and of itself. But my personal interpretation of what Garmin Boja is, if you think about it, try Googling up Garmin Boja. The only references you're going to find are to Twin Peaks. That word does not exist outside of Twin Peaks. So you start picking apart the etymology of it. What word does Garmin Boja sound like?
Ambrosia.
Exactly. Exactly. And what is ambrosia? Ambrosia is the food of the gods.
Oh, it's one of those mushroom jello concoctions.
Well, yes. But in mythology, ambrosia is the food of the gods. So if ambrosia is the food of the gods, perhaps Garmin Boja is the food of the demons? It is specifically referred to, Garmin Boja is pain and suffering, right? And what it looks like is, it looks like cream corn, right? We saw it with, what's her name? Grandmother and the grandson that Donna met when she was doing the Meals on Wheels. Garmin Boja, and we've seen this in we've seen it in Star Trek, we've seen it everywhere, where you've got these otherworldly, other dimensional beings, right? Who I'm going to use the Q as an example. They're probably the best example. That the Q takes the crew to his realm, the Q, right? And they see everything as though it's like in Voyager, it was they're witnessing the civil. It's like the Civil War, and you've got people wearing Union and Confederate uniforms. That's not literal. And Q says that. It's not literal. It's just how your puny human minds are interpreting it. Because the Q had some kind of a civil war going on. And they're multiplanar creatures. They're multidimensional beings. So the humans could not perceive them outside of their regular 3 or 4 dimensions. So it seems reasonable that the lodge denizens are also outside of regular 3 or 4 dimensional space. They see things differently, and when you see what they're showing you, you're seeing things in their realms. You interpret it in a way that you can understand. If I were to hold open my hands and say, look at all my pain and suffering, what would that look like to you? Well, to David Lynch, it looked like cream corn because he hates cream corn. Seriously. I mean, he said that,
What a... Now I think of that line in The Simpsons. Cream corn, more like cream crap.
Yeah.
That's what Jimbo
exactly.
said.
Welcome, Logical Spark. Welcome. Good to see you.
What was it, though? I don't know, though. It's just... There's a lot of confusing stuff in here. Where was the giant, for starters? He's all worn and Dale. He's not there in the lodge, is he? Where's the giant?
Okay, so we know that there are 2 lodges, right? The Black Lodge and the White Lodge. And although it's never overtly said, I think it's strongly implied that the Black Lodge is in some way evil and the White Lodge is, good. right?
Mhm.
And it sure looks like the giant has throughout this been a force of good, right? Guiding and warning
Yes.
Dale. What role do you think, though, that the little man from another place has?
I don't know. And for starters, I want to know, who is Mike? Because where is whatever that spirit that inhabits the one-armed man must have a distinct whatever in the Black Lodge, right?
Yes.
Does he reside there? He's not the little red man,
so
though, right?
keep in mind, Mike and Philip Gerard are different aspects of the same being. So Mike is a lodge denizen, whereas Philip Gerard is his human tether, right? If you take what Mike said at face value, and I think we should until we have any reason to believe otherwise, he said that he and Bob used to do all kinds of evil things, right? And he was my familiar, and blah blah blah. And I had this tattoo that was a sign, and so forth. But then I saw the face of God, and I was transformed, and I removed the whole arm to take off that the stain of, what he had been. One possible interpretation seems like the most likely is he was a Black Lodge denizen, and he left the lodge, and he's hoping to get into the White Lodge, earn his way into the White Lodge. He's trying to repent.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to do that, he's just like Bob has found a tether in our world to do evil. Mike has found a tether in this world to have a good role, or use his evil knowledge to maybe help in the battle against the Black Lodge. That's what we've seen him do anyway up to this point. So, like I say, there's no reason to doubt what he's saying. But again, and the only reason I'm not too concerned about spoilers for Fire Walk with Me is because we've done at least 2 rewatches of it already. We may do yet another one. But keep in mind that when you see Mike again in the lodge, right? He's the actor really does not have a left arm, right? He's an actor without an arm. And the little man from another place goes up to him. He's sitting down, goes up to him, puts his hand on the shoulder where the missing arm is, and he says, "I am the arm."
Huh.
So literally, when Mike cut off his arm that bore some sort of a symbol of his evil, a tattoo or something, he cut it off to separate himself from the Black Lodge and the evil, right? The arm was left behind. The little man from another place is that arm, a representation of Mike's evil.
Oh, I found out what Annie was saying.
Okay, what was
Remember the
it?
prayer? It wasn't a prayer, unless it's a prayer contained in the Bible. It was from Psalms.
Oh, it makes sense.
What is it? Chapters 141, 5, verses 5 through 10. There you go. That's what it's from. I'm looking at the King James version. It's very similar to what she was saying.
Wait a minute. One more time. It was Psalms.
Psalms 141, I believe, chapter 141, verses 5 through 10.
5
Yes.
through.
Our bones are scattered at the grave's mouth, and when one cutteth, okay, there it is.
Let the righteous man strike me, that is a kindness. Let him rebuke me, that is oil on my head. My head will not refuse it, for my prayer will still be against the deeds of the evildoers. The rulers will be thrown down from the cliff. The wicked will learn that my words were well spoken. They will say, as one plows and breaks up the earth, so our bones have been scattered at the mouth of the grave. For my eyes are fixed on you, sovereign Lord. In you I take refuge. Do not give me over to death. Keep me safe from the traps set by evildoers, for the snares they have laid for me. From the snares they have laid for me, let the wicked fall into their own nests while I pass by in safety. That actually makes absolute sense. That is absolutely appropriate to the situation she was in. Yeah, that's what I say. This stuff is not, by chance.
Yes. So, it's, I don't know. Of course, we got other stuff going on this episode, but we're all focused on the lodge. What about the bank? Do we want to talk about that at all?
I mean, there's not really anything to say because there's nothing symbolic there. It's pretty straightforward. Thomas had left a bomb in a safe deposit box with a trigger that if it's opened, kaboom. And
see that gets neglected in this finale, I find, because everyone's focused on the stuff with Cooper and the lodge. But I always wonder, well, what happened there? Who survived? What's going on? But
you can't piece that together until season 3.
Mm-hmm.
25 years later.
And then the Ben Horn thing, which he wouldn't leave well enough alone, I guess. That's what I want to say about that.
This is one of those ones that is way more gray, right?
Yes.
I mean, yes, it was absolutely not good that he had an affair with Donna's mother. Is likely, very possibly, Donna's father.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I
could see it feels like her and Audrey could have been sisters.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And every step of the way of dealing with it, they pretty much all handled it wrong. The only thing is Doc Hayward. You can't blame any of it on Doc Hayward because it kind of wasn't his decision to make, right?
But he punched him.
No. Yeah, but I'm just saying, up to this point, the way it was all dealt with in regards to Donna.
Right.
You can understand her being mad at Ben. You can understand her being mad at her mother. But she doesn't seem to get mad at Doc Hayward, and I think she sees, he didn't do anything. Right? He and it wasn't really his truth to tell, so to speak. But it's like he's done. He's like, I'm now gonna, let's face it, Donna's an adult now. There's no reason to be hiding things anymore. So that's why he goes and gets I'm drawing a blank on Ben's wife's name. Sylvia, right. Goes and gets Sylvia and brings her. And Sylvia also is a voice of reason in it. How does she call it? Ben, what are you doing to this family? Yeah, it's a fair question. And in a way, it's a kind of a rhetorical question. It's meant to make Ben think about what he's doing. He can't, though. He's too close to it. And I do believe that there is a repentant part of Ben that's trying to make things right, but he has no experience. That's what I got. Psalm 141, verses 5 to 10. So he thinks, and let's analyze this for a second. Let's do a little bit of what would you do and what is the right thing. Put yourself in Ben's circumstance. You've had an affair with a married woman. You've had a daughter with her. Mm-hmm. That daughter has grown up thinking her husband is the father, right? You've kept the secret all along. You've done a lot worse things in your life. And now you're going through a change of heart, a repentance, right?
Yes.
What do you do in regards to this situation with this daughter you've stayed away from, who is now an adult? Is it the right decision to continue the charade and never say anything? Isn't that still perpetuating a lie of omission? Doesn't Donna have a right to know?
How old is Donna on the show at this point? Is she 18?
She's at least 18. Yes.
Then, yeah, she's an adult. I mean, legal adult. It's one of these things.
Because all of them were seniors in high school.
Right.
So Donna and Lauren, all of them are 18. Well, actually, I'd have to do the maths again to see if Laura actually made it to 18. But, you know, Donna and Bobby and all of them, they're 18. If for no other reason, it's a lot easier to deal with the story if they're 18, and I'm sure from a television production standpoint they needed to be 18. So Donna was 18, and I think that was part of her thing. It's like, I'm 18, you have no business keeping these secrets from me. But she's also not real receptive to hearing it from Ben, right? And so I'm gonna make the slight concession to Ben, and say I'm on his side in regards to his instinct that telling the truth is the right answer. The way he went about it, and that's another part of the problem. He's been such a bastard for so much of his life. When he decides to turn over a new leaf and try to be good, he has no context for how to be good. So he mucks it up, right?
I like when his wife showed, I told you to stay home. You remember that?
Right, because he's trying to handle it. When...
And that's making things worse with her popping in there.
It is, but... From his point of view, it's making it worse. It's already a bad circumstance. She's just shedding light on how bad a circumstance it already is. You know, another proverb is for want of advice, nations fall. Many advisors make victory assured. And this was the kind of thing where, in a rational thing, Ben should have had a conversation. He probably should have had a conversation with Doc Hayward and said, look, we're the men of this family. This is the truth. This is the situation. We should deal with it together. We should get our wives together. We should get Donna in here, and we should talk about this.
The kids aren't at fault, basically.
Exactly. And I'll confess my sins, and your wife can do the same. I'll take all responsibility. She can take as much as she feels necessary, but we got to get the truth out there. You know, and that would give Doc Hayward the opportunity to say, okay, fine. And we got to give Donna the opportunity to decide what she wants to do. But if she wants nothing to do with you, you need to stay away, Ben. Right? And best case scenario, Ben goes, okay, fair enough. Because then he can say, okay, I got this off my soul, you know, and I've made right. And, you know, as long as they both exist in the world, Donna can always come back and say, hey, I'd like to get to know you a little bit.
Right.
That's the right way. But human failing, right? He tries to control. He tries to manage. Again, good intentions are not enough. And this has now pushed Doc Hayward beyond his ability to rein it in. And he lost his temper, right? He lashed out in anger. In his own home, as you would expect a man to do, right? But now we're left with the cliffhanger of what happens to
Ben Horn.
Ben Horn. Exactly. And I know he was still moving, so technically he's still alive, but he could just be in death throes twitching, you know. I don't want to spoil it, so that's why I'm not saying anything about that. What else have I missed? Oh, well, this one's an easy, quick one. Leo is still in a death trap. Right?
Yeah.
Nobody knows he's there. Nobody knows he's there. The only person that knew he was there was Wyndham Earl, and he's dead.
I don't even remember how that was talked about on the Revival series, but I imagine, like, the last scene of the Revival series would be Leo still holding on to that thing, and he's, like, gray-haired or something.
Well,
That would be
doesn't
kinda
Major
funny.
Briggs remember where he is at all? Because he doesn't seem to.
Oh, yes, that
He
is
was
a possibility.
No, he
isn't
was
it?
messed up. He was messed up.
We see no indication within this last episode that Garland knew or remembered.
Because I
Right.
think he would have sent someone out there.
He
wouldn't
would have. Absolutely would have.
wouldn't
Yeah,
have.
you're right. That almost implies that he
He may
doesn't
never remember where he was, and what happened, what he even said when he came to. Yeah, it came to.
I believe that if they had gotten a third season, you know, for the following television season, there would have been they would have had to have resolved the Leo thing then, and I think it would have involved Garland saying, just overhearing that, you know, Leo is still missing, and then him going, I remember something. You know, I remember I was in a cabin and Leo helped me escape. And he said, you know, go save Shelley. You know, do you know where he was? No, I can't remember. But he'd try. You know, I think that's how that probably would have gone. But no, after 25 years, well, what we would have found is we finally find the cabin 25 years later. It's a skeleton with the twine still in its teeth, and up in the cage is the dead husk of a spider.
Oh.
Because they all would have died from starvation or dehydration. So that one's an easy open-ended story. We still don't know. And yeah, it does leave Shelley and Bobby in a, he wants to marry her, but she can't. She's still married. Legally, she's still married.
And we don't know what's happened to Leo yet. Last we saw him, he's still talking
Well,
about
that's
that
what we were
string.
just saying. They don't know what's happened to him.
Right, but I mean, but what was in that cage?
It's supposed to be poison spiders. That is not something that would have killed him, unless that's what the writers in the story wanted to happen. So,
Because tarantulas, if those were what those were supposed to be, aren't poisonous.
yeah. Well, they are, but they're
Well,
venomous, but they're not deadly.
Yeah,
they're
that's
like
what I meant.
they're like unless he's allergic, and we have no reason to believe he is. All we know is that this is what Wyndham Earl told him. If they escape, they'll bite you, you'll die. And we don't know if he was lying or telling the truth. Based on everything I know about spiders, he was lying. But sometimes
I take the risk, let it fall, and just hopefully maybe the spider leaves you alone, right?
It is a better option than, you know, dying from dehydration, which is the next thing that would have happened to him. The other thing is he falls asleep and then lets go of it. It's gonna happen eventually anyway. But anyway, we'll leave Leo into, because there's a definite answer in season 3. Shelley, like I said, she's still married to him. She can't get remarried until she'd have to go. And I don't know Washington state law about this kind of stuff, but generally in most states, especially in a situation like this, she would say, look, my husband's missing. He's been missing for however long. I want to start dissolution of marriage procedure. And there's probably like a 1-year waiting period or something. If he doesn't show up in time, she can dissolve the marriage unilaterally. I don't know. Again, it totally depends on what Washington state law is. And it may not even depend on what real world Washington state law is. It might depend on what the writers wanted it to be. Because this is fiction and they can, fictionalize things. Like the poison spiders, Let me know. Have I missed any cliffhangers that are going to sit and wait for 25 years? I mean, a couple weeks till we start doing season 3.
Nadine.
So, I think that's less a cliffhanger than anything else. It's almost a resolution, at least from the point of view of Mike. Right? Mike's off the hook now. He's just going to have to move on, which was a foregone conclusion. That was a messed up situation for him to be in anyway. So he's going to have to move on. It does leave Nadine and Big Ed and what's her name?
Norma.
It leaves their relationships, I'm not going to say up in the air. It leaves them in the exact same place it was at the beginning of the series. He's still married and in love with someone else. And they're going to have to resolve that the same way they would have had to resolve it otherwise. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I this is a spoiler for season 3, but it's I think it's the right thing to do. Don Davis's character, Garland Briggs, because he obviously died. He died in 2008. There was no way he was going to be available to do this Return to Twin Peaks. But his character was too important to the story. And like I said, they wanted to bring everybody back in some way. Even those that had died, they try to find a way to bring them back. And Don Davis, of all the people that had died before filming, his character is brought back in not only one of the biggest ways, but the most ways. I mean, from things as simple as a picture of him, in a frame, in a background, to some weird elements. Let's just put it that way. He's involved. Let's put it that way. Yeah, it was a role that could not be. Yeah, you couldn't recast that role. There are some roles that are. I don't think it would be really accurate to say they were recast. It's hard to explain. The characters are still there, even if the actor isn't. Let's just put it that way. There's some weird shenanigans that happen to make. Yeah, you'll see. There are like I said, they tried to bring everyone back, but there were some people they were not going to bring back.
No.
Actors that didn't want to be involved, or at least in one or two cases, actors they didn't, the production crew did not want to bring back, did not want to work with. So, I just think that'll be interesting to talk about as we get into season 3. So I just want to save those little bits. They could have never found. Yeah. They're all just showing love for Major Briggs. Yeah. So yeah, there you go. What are we thinking for next week, Stephen? Are we going to do? We're gonna do Flappy. We're gonna talk about Flappy.
Definitely.
Are we doing a Flappy retrospective?
We're gonna play. Yeah, it's a bio. It's not long.
Am I gonna cry?
You might. Look, you probably knew Flappy about as well as any of us, and you were real keyed into some of the stuff he was going through. He had it rough. He is not.
He had some personal demons he was dealing.
He really did. And we're gonna talk about that.
He had to keep that he had to shoot that each time that intro that when you see him that was shot original for each episode.
Yeah.
And he had to do it the same. Lynch was a perfectionist. He needed that. He needed him to do the exact same thing each time for each episode. It was just yeah.
Are we also going to look at? Do you want to also do Beyond the Meanwhile? Deleted scenes.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to have at least two fan films that are there's nothing lore critical or spoilery in them. They're more fun mood pieces. We'll talk about them next week. And should we talk a little bit about I don't think we could do both the audio tapes and the authorized biography in one episode. Do you?
How extensively do you want to go into them?
Well, we split up Laura Palmer's diary into 2 episodes, so I feel like we'd almost have to do the same with these.
Okay.
You want to do the Flappy and the Dale Cooper tapes in one episode, and then I don't know.
Well, let me take a look at the audio tapes and the authorized biography. Let me start putting my notes together and see how much material I think I'd want to have to cover on that. I mean, I could do a deeper dive, or I could just do a synopsis. I'm kind of leaning towards the synopsis because I don't think there's too much deep that we have to go into it. We can decide between now and next week, but I do think we should at least get the 2 fan films in next week, and then at least start in on the others. So gear up. We are gonna. Oh, and what about Fire Walk with Me? Is that coming up too? Are we going to redo that?
Well, I think now, seeing the first 2 seasons, it does add context to the film. So, yeah, I think we should revisit that.
And do we do the theatrical release?
The theatrical, or do we do the longer version?
What did we do on your thing?
I think we did the extended version on mine.
We did.
And honestly, Deleted scenes. I feel, ironically, deleted
Yeah.
scenes. I feel
Yeah.
like we should get into those deleted scenes
We should.
because if we're doing a deep dive and we're going to be looking at films that aren't directly Twin Peaks related but are
Twin Peaks adjacent, certainly.
yeah, Twin Peaks
Yeah.
adjacent, to give context, maybe those deleted scenes are worth context too. We can do it
Sure.
in such a way
Right.
that we point out. I mean, if I'm able, because I've seen it so many times, I may not be able to remember which scenes are deleted scenes and which ones were originally in it.
Yeah. For those who might not understand what we're getting at,
Yeah.
now you have the Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me film. You have the theatrical edit, which actually just recently had a 4K edition through Criterion, I believe. Now, there is also what is referred to as the missing pieces, which are deleted scenes from both the film and the television series. Now, there is a fan edit which inserts the missing pieces back into the film. And it's, well, into the film, not back into the film, but into the film. And it's pretty seamless. And it was put together by someone who cared very much about the timeline of events. And take care, Curtis. Good night. So now, having the first two having the first two seasons as context, I think it is best to show it with the missing pieces and watch the fan edit. I think that makes more sense.
Yeah. Okay, so that's what we'll do.
Okay. And the fact that there are some, since we're about to go into season 3 as well, there are there are bits of a couple of the quote unquote missing pieces. I think everybody should know going into 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially if my theory of what's taking place in 3 and the show in total is correct.
Well, even if it's
I
not,
think it does fit in.
Even if it's not, I can tell you this: getting your head around the events of what leads up to Laura's death really helps when we get to season 3. So, yeah, as clear an impression of what's going on as possible from Fire Walk with Me is definitely a good thing.
Because folks, when they say the owls are not what they seem, brother, they ain't kidding. You know?
Darn those owls.
There is more than meets the eye for sure. And things that the first 2 seasons don't go into.
Yep. Exactly right.
You know, that
so
you
good,
will
good.
need to know once you reach season 3.
Yep. So I think we know what we're doing. I think that's good. And let's see. Okay. I think that about covers it then. Did I miss anything from tonight's episode that you wanted to cover? Deleted scenes.
No, I think that about wraps it up. I'm very curious to see when we get to season 3, of course, where a few of the characters end up because of this
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah.
And I'm not just talking about the characters who are in danger, because there are certainly plenty of those, but there are a couple of other characters who are very changed,
Yep.
or I believe are going to be very changed by things that they saw or learned in this episode.
I agree.
So I'm very curious to see where some of them end up.
Did you want to touch on June 5th before we end?
Oh, yes. All right. Well, those of you who may not yet have heard, David Lynch made a statement recently on Twitter stating that he has a surprise announcement on June 5th. Now, we know that he's been trying to get an animated series off the ground called Snoot World.
Yep.
That Netflix, in their infinite wisdom, rejected. Now, this announcement could be him letting everyone know that that project has found a home. We also know there have been rumors he's working on another film. That's a possibility that he could be making some announcements about that. Or maybe he has something else up his sleeve. Either way, we have some. We are going to have some news from Mr. David Lynch himself, and I'm breathless with anticipation to find out what he's got cooked up.
You want to know my theory?
Please.
I think he is going to wish a happy birthday to Susan Lynch, Northern Irish actress who may or may not be related to him. That's her birthday, so she was born in 1971.
Could be. Probably likely, but knowing him, but we'll see. He's definitely got everybody a buzz about what he has cooked up. He's definitely got himself back in the back into the trade papers again for sure. So
I was completely unaware of this whole Snoot World thing until Culture Casino brought it up as a theory about what might be in store on June 5th, and I was like, David Lynch involved in an animated feature. And then thinking back to the recent rewatches that we've been doing over on Big Al's channel, I'm like, why do we live in a world where David Lynch and Ralph Bakshi have never done anything together? Those two need to do something together. Wouldn't that be awesome? Now, if it was Twin Peaks related, so much the better, but it wouldn't have to be.
Here, you need a refill.
Yes. Or is that just crazy talk?
What, did you need a refill?
No. Ralph Bakshi working with David Lynch.
Well,
I
that's
think they
just
would go
silly
well
crazy
together.
talk there.
Well, I mean, if you consider that he's working with this Snoot World project that he's been working on. He was working with Carolyn Thompson, who worked on The Addams Family and Edward Scissorhands. I mean, it seems, it could work.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it'll be Eddie and the Cruisers 3. I'm sorry, I don't know why I thought.
Dude, can you imagine Eddie and the Cruisers 3 with art by Ralph Bakshi? It's an anime feature, yeah. Yeah. Man, it's not bad. Not a bad idea. I like the idea.
Hmm.
Anyway. Is John Cafferty still recording?
Joe Cafferty's still alive?
Yes, John Cafferty's still alive.
To my knowledge.
Anyway.
John says, great try. I've been trying. It's been a little unsettling walking into my house and hearing you from 3 different rooms. That is close to 1,000 kWh hours.
Yeah, I guys, I really appreciate all that you guys have been doing. I'm almost there. It's gonna happen. If not this week, then next. I think the biggest part of it is that what do you call it? YouTube is more than a week behind in assessing your watch time. So I'm gonna have to, like last Friday night isn't on there yet. The Monday night at the movies isn't on there yet. Obviously, tonight's hasn't been counted yet. Just that alone, I think, is going to give me more than 52 hours or whatever it was that I need. Nonetheless, just the fact you guys are working so hard to help me out, I super appreciate it, and it's very, very encouraging to me. I mean, at this point, that's pretty much why I want to get there, because you guys have, it's been so much of a team effort, I want to honor that. Yeah, then we turn our attention to Netta, right, and get her up there. Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
I'm getting there.
All right.
I do think that this whole being able to multi-stream has really helped. I think all of us. I mean, talk about Together We Grow, right?
Absolutely.
But anyway, all right.
I think it's
I'm
time
going to
to
shut
go.
up.
Yeah, I think it's time to go one more time around the horn. Boomer, what do you have coming up?
I'll be on Friday night stream with Troy, last call. I think we decided on a subject, correct?
I don't remember. What did we decide on?
Summer vacations of old.
Yes, summer vacations.
Okay.
Yes. That's actually brilliant.
What you did, maybe what you did in the 70s and whatnot, and what I did in the 80s. I don't know. We'll think of something. Okay.
Absolutely. Good idea.
And then Geeky Geezers on Sunday, which will be talking about the fallout from Richard Dreyfuss. Actually, I'm assuming answering questions he was asked, and then people not liking the answers. I don't know.
Yeah, pretty much.
Bit, yeah.
We'll probably also give an update on Smash JT, who is, I believe, live streaming right now.
Yes.
Yep. Talk about, or either that or he's finished already. I don't know.
No, I think
he went live 45 minutes ago. I don't know if he's done now or not. But doing a little celebrating because, and this is how it goes when we do a weekly news show. Something comes up on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it's already something different and it's changed by Sunday, He, over the weekend, his webpage got attacked and taken down, and he's already got it back up and running. So the Trolls had a very short-lived victory, but ultimately Smash JT has won. But we'll keep you posted on those culture war, the battles of the culture wars.
I guess that's what we're calling it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the unfortunate box office returns as of late. We can talk about those.
Yeah, it's been bad. It's been bad.
How are theaters going to survive? That's what I'm wondering.
I've already heard some commenters speculating that they won't. What does a world look like without cinema? We'll see.
Troy.
Yeah, so I think we just covered Friday. Everything else is stuff I'm co-hosting. I have not set. I haven't decided what we're doing for Monday night at the movies yet, have I? Of course, I will be co-hosting with Deleted Scenes and Netter and Jedi Bill on Sunday. The third part of last night's double feature. Well, it's a triple feature if you count Sunday over on Western Cinema with these guys, 3 Central, 4 Eastern for part 3 of Back to the Future. Talk about cliffhangers. We left Marty, stranded in the middle of the road back in 1955. We gotta resolve that. So.
Yeah, and all we know is Doc's alive.
And Doc's alive in the past, and probably not still alive, but we'll get there. And yeah, I haven't decided yet what we're watching for Monday night at the movies, but I'll get it figured out before Monday.
One would hope.
I don't know. I mean, we're talking about summer things and
Weekend at Bernie's too. No, I don't know.
God.
Weekend at Bernie's was good. Weekend at Bernie's 2 was kind of pushing it.
I'll tell you what.
I don't remember that one.
I will do Weekend at Bernie's 1 and 2 in mid-November, depending on how the election goes.
There you go. Okay, there you go.
I know what I was going to say though is you kind of suggested it early. Maybe we do. What do you think? A double feature of Blair Witch Project.
No, I won't attend.
I tell you what, Troy. Wait a minute. You mentioned how we're going to talk on Friday a bit about Summer School, the movie. You might want to do maybe something summer themed. The Great Outdoors and Summer School. I don't know what. High school.
What did you want? Rock and Roll High School?
I said Rock and Roll High School, and then what's the one Boomer said? Summer School?
Was it Summer School or Summer Vacation? Summer something.
Summer School with Mark Harmon. Don't you remember? Gibbs, before he was Gibbs.
Mm-hmm.
1987, that's right. Mark Harmon, Kirstie Alley.
Yes.
Oh
Do
my
that in
gosh.
Rock and Roll High School. Yeah, that might be an idea.
I like that. Yep. I'll plan on that then. Yeah.
With Dave and Chainsaw. Yeah, well, you'll know when you watch it. Okay.
Yeah, I don't really remember, but there we go. All right. So yeah, that's what I got going.
And of course, seems Jesse has run into a spot of bad luck with these storms. Yeah, man, let us know anything we can do to help or to pass the word along. Let us know, please.
Yeah.
Cool.
Indeed.
All
right. So, Netter, you have a couple of things coming up here very soon that are very apropos.
Well, let's see. Today's Tuesday. So Thursday, over on Thursday Things, my special guest will be Tom Conkle, who's a returning guest, and we'll be talking about an update on Island in the Stars. It sounds like he's had actually an update that he's released, so we're going to be talking about that on my stream. Let's see, Friday I'm going to be co-hosting with, that guy at the end of the bar over there, the love of my life, Troy Pacelli. Let's see, Saturday, it's Big Al's week, isn't it? Oh, right, it is. It's Big Al's Weekend. We're going to be doing Midnight Madness,
Yep.
which is a movie I've always liked. And it shows a very, very young Michael J. Fox. I think he was 12.
That was his introductory film, yeah.
Yeah. I want to say when he did that, he was like 12 years old. He was really, really, really young. Let's see. Sunday, Monday. Then back here next Tuesday for whatever it is we're going to do.
For whatever it is we're going to do. Yeah, there you go.
Yep. So we got that going on. So, yeah, that's kind of it. I also had filmed something that I need to get edited. I'm not sure when I'm going to get edited, but I'm hoping to have it up within the next 2 weeks. So, you can look for that too.
Yep.
It's one of those. I can give you a hint. It's about organization, and people like organization. So I think you'll like it.
Good.
That's it for me.
All right. Well, that gets back on to me. Of course, Thursday, I'll be joining Jedi Bill for the last of our Salute to the Troops month on Action Theater, and we are going to be watching Behind Enemy Lines with Gene Hackman and Owen Wilson.
And Dave McCallum, I believe, is in that one as well.
I'm sorry?
David McCallum is in that one as well.
David McCallum?
If I recall correctly. I have to go look.
No.
Mm-hmm.
You sure? Because she knows her David McCallum, usually.
Cast. Oh, I want the original one, not the new one. Okay, why do they keep showing me 2001? I don't want 2001. I want 1987.
Okay, this is not the 1987 film.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
then never mind.
Then no.
And, yeah. This is yeah, I don't think Owen Wilson would be playing a fighter pilot in a movie in 1987. I think he would have been a little scotch young.
Well, that's true.
And of course, that gets us back around to Sunday for Western Cinema Presents that we've brought up already. Back to the Future 3. Thursday. Thursday night, of course, my weekend update show, my chance to touch base with my subscribers, let everybody know what I'm doing. Of course, there will be unscripted as usual. As of right now, there will be another side of midnight. Unless I'm too sleepy. If not, we'll go on. If there is, we'll see. But as of right now, I am planning one. Then, of course, right back here next week.
And I did check. David McCallum wasn't Behind Enemy Lines in the original. See, I know my David McCallum.
Okay. Yeah.
So what is that film about? Is there a synopsis there?
Well, I don't know what your movie's about, but this one was basically it's during the wartime. They're literally behind enemy lines trying to get back home.
Well, in the one we're doing, Owen Wilson and the guy who was in Suits, Harvey, they get shot down over Bosnia and have to escape.
Huh?
That's basically it. It's kind of a chase film, but it's pretty decent. Anywho, all right. Any last words before I close it out?
Excelsior.
Boomer.
I'm confused. There you go.
Okay.
We're not. And
Don't
Netter,
make a
you're
lick of sense.
Well, it's fill in blanks, find more blanks. That's
Mhm.
how it is. All right, Netter, your last words.
I have to go back to work tomorrow.
And I have to pee.
Oh, well,
Sorry,
we better end this
TMI.
quick. All right, so should I just go ahead and close this out?
You can.
Yes.
Okay. Right. Well, thank you all once again for joining us. Thank you once again, Boomer, Troy, and Netter, for joining me. Hope everybody enjoyed the show. From HQ and all points north, south, east, west, and beyond, regardless of whether you are in the Black Lodge or the White One. Good night. Take care. Stay strong, because this is how we win.
Was it seduction or illusion? Deception or murder? Nothing is what it seems in a town like Twin Peaks. Starring Kyle MacLachlan, Michael Onke, Laura Flynn Boyle, Sherilyn Fenn, and Joan Chen. And now you can fall back into the mystery, or begin your search for the first time every Tuesday night with a new episode hosted by a panel of superfans. Watch live for the audio commentary. No one is innocent